Hey everybody, it's Alex. I got to tour the Wonder of the Seas with Royal Caribbean, and I'm going to tell you my first impressions of the ship and give you a little bit of an idea of what the ship has to offer if you and your family are interested in sailing with Royal Caribbean on the Wonder of the Seas. Hey y'all, this video is going to be a little bit different than what we normally do, but I got the opportunity to tour the Wonder of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. So I got a lot of video footage and I still wanted to be able to show it to y'all, but talk through some of it versus how our normal vlogs are where Chris and I are just kind of experiencing something together. This tour was about 4 or 5 hours long and it was fast. This ship is absolutely massive, as you'll see in some of the video clips that I'll put up. But yeah, it was a really fast 4 hours. We didn't actually sail on this ship. It was just docked or ported in Port Canaveral, and they invited us out to go and tour it. So I'm gonna talk through a little bit of all of that and kind of give you an idea of what it's like if you were to sail on this ship. So the Wonder of the Seas is one of the largest ships that Royal Caribbean currently has. It's a newer ship and it is absolutely stunning. So I have a couple different categories I'm going to kind of break down, and we'll just kind of get into it and talk about the Wonder of the Seas. So this was my first experience with a Royal Caribbean ship, actually getting on a ship. And just first impression, like walking onto the ship, looking at the ship from the outside, it's stunning. It's absolutely massive, and it kind of blew my mind compared to some of the smaller ships that I have actually been on in the past with Disney and with Virgin Voyages. Even when I was outside trying to take video of it or some pictures of it on my phone, I couldn't even like doing the 0.5 zoom out, I couldn't fit the whole ship in one shot from where we were standing, and we were pretty far away from it as well. So it is like incredibly massive. So if you've never been on one of the larger, a larger ship, that's probably going to be your first reaction too. If you've been on some smaller ships with like Norwegian or with Virgin or with Disney, you're probably going to get that similar reaction. So we went through the terminal with security. They, checked our passports and IDs and everything. And we went through the gangway and got on the ship the same way that you would get on the ship if you were getting on for your cruise. If you've ever been on a cruise, it's like that first initial, you're stepping from the gangway to the actual ship. You're just like, it's so exciting. You're finally there. You've gotten through all the, boring security parts and you're on the actual ship. And this ship, when you walk on, it didn't even feel like we were on an actual ship. It was like kind of like a luxury mall. I was just like, I kept like gawking and looking around like, oh my gosh, what else is there to look at? So you look up and there's big, nets full of balloons that they're going to, let down when you actually embark. And so it was really cool just to kind of have that buzz and excitement feel like you would if you were actually cruising with him. And the fact that I got it and I knew I wasn't even staying on the ship, the fact that you get to stay on it, you're probably going to be even more excited. Because of how massive this ship was, I cannot imagine doing less than like a 5, 6, 7 night cruise on this ship. And luckily, most of the current sailings on the Wonder of the Seas out of Port Canaveral are those 7-night sailings. Because if you did much less, I feel like you would definitely I personally would feel overwhelmed or like I missed out on a lot. You would definitely have to tamper your expectations of doing as much, because we'll get into it later, there's just so much to do and see and experience on this ship that I definitely think it's good that a 7-night is a lengthy enough one that you're still going to be able to experience a lot of things. A positive I did see with it being such a large ship is there is seating literally everywhere. So much seating. There were just a lot of places to relax all over the ship, which I really liked to see. Some smaller ships I feel like that I've been on can kind of lack in this department because they're smaller, there's not as much space. But with this, I feel like they did have a lot of that available, and that looked like it would be really good if you were sailing on the actual ship. I will say the ship also felt really clean and modern, and I liked the nice bright colors they used. They had a lot of really pretty accents, pops of color with pillows or with different art that was all over the ship. There is a ton, and it is so unique. It's so fun to look at. There are so many places to take like selfies or photos with your friends and family that you're sailing with. So many places to just go and explore and look at and take your photos with, which I thought was a lot of fun. So if you're somebody like me who wants to post a cute selfie on Instagram or Facebook, this ship has got you covered because there is plenty of that to be had. And with the variety of the art, I really think that kids will like looking at it, teens will like looking at it, adults will enjoy kind of just checking it out, and just like keep your eyes open while you're walking through the ship, because there's a lot of fun little things that you can kind of check out. Next, we're going to talk about the food. So we ate at the Solarium Bistro, which is a buffet, and there was a little bit of everything. So if you have some pickier eaters, they're going to have things like hot dogs and pasta with red sauce, bread, lunch meat, so you could make sandwiches, things like that. And then if you have a little bit more adventurous, or you just want something a little bit different or a little bit heartier, they had things like pork schnitzel, mashed potatoes, roasted vegetables. They had some carved meats, and then they had an assortment of desserts and things like that. Now, this is definitely kind of like your typical buffet food on a cruise. It was nothing bad, but it wasn't necessarily like super elevated experience either. It's gonna get you full. It's gonna have variety for everybody, and sometimes that's just what you need, right? So with Royal Caribbean Cruises, you're gonna have some food that is included and some that is not, and it's like an elevated experience and an extra cost. So you're gonna have buffets like the Solarium I was talking about, Windjammer, and then you're gonna have fast casual spots like the Park Deli or Sorrento's Pizza. Those are all gonna be included. So there's plenty of that to be included. So don't feel like there's only gonna be like one or two spots that's included and then everything's else an upcharge. That's not necessarily the case. There's plenty of options for food that is included in your cruise fare. But if you're having, you wanna have a date night, or you wanna have, something a little special, somebody celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, you do have some other places like Wonderland, the Mason Jar, or Chops Grill that you can make reservations with beforehand, and there's going to be a little bit of an extra charge. Pricing of that is obviously going to vary, so just make sure you're looking at the Cruise Planners and Royal app so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into there. So you can make those reservations on the app prior to your sailing. If you want to get a full look at what is available for the Wonder of the Seas, or if you're cruising on another ship with Royal, go to their website. I'll try to link that below in the show notes, and so you can see exactly what kind of food options are available. There is a lengthy list. Before we get into entertainment, thank y'all so much for watching. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We have more stuff coming out, more cruise tours, different things happening that we're doing in Florida at Disney World and Universal. And so I'd love it if you would subscribe. We really, really appreciate the support. Third bucket item that we're going to talk about is entertainment. If you've seen photos online or already watched some videos, you've probably seen the water slides that are coming off this ship. So they are massive, and there are multiple, which is really, really cool. There's also the Flow Rider. This is kind of like a practice surfing or boogie boarding or bodyboarding on an actual ship. I've seen a ton of videos online of this. So because my videos, you can't actually see it, flowing with water or anybody doing it, go check those out, because this seems like it would be really fun, and I've always been very intrigued by this about Royal. And this is included in your cruise, but it is very popular, so keep that in mind. Make sure you can see the hours of the day when it's actually happening and when it opens. Maybe get there a little early, or just stick around, kind of see when maybe lulls in the day are. I would assume that just like anything else, when you are stopped at a port somewhere, when people are getting off the ship, it may be less crowded. So if you're not wanting to get off during that time, this may be a good time to jump on the Flow Rider. You can also, if this is something that's really, really, really important to you or somebody in your family, you can book private sessions with it as well. It is, of course, a cost, and it's different depending on how many hours you choose. But check into that. You can reserve that as well. Splashaway Bay is a smaller area with slides and splash pads that's for toddlers all the way to your tween age. So again, make sure you check any restrictions on this, but this is a really fun area. It's very brightly colored. There's like a big bucket that, pours water on your head. There's, chutes and just all kinds of good stuff that your kiddos are going to have a really good time with. I was even like, oh, I want to go, jump in and splash around, because when we went, it was very hot that day. Now for 18 plus, you're going to have areas like the Solarium that include smaller pools, hot tubs, and lounge areas. There's also a bar there, and it's kind of like a big a dome area. It was a little warm because we were at port that, or we were stopped that day when we were sailing, so I would imagine it would get maybe a little less so when you're moving. But this was, as you'll see in the videos, this was a beautiful area. I knew that if Chris and I ever sailed on the Wonder of the Seas, I would be like, this would be our area. Another thing on entertainment, there are shows for everyone. There are a ton of shows. Of course, they could differ depending on the sailing, the type of year, things like that. So just be sure to look at your specific sailing, what there is going to be offered. But we were able to see some of the theaters and even an ice skating rink. The theater, massive, absolutely gorgeous. The ice skating rink was nice and cool. So if it's a really hot day and you're wanting to do something a little bit more cooled off, this might be a fun thing to do. There's a show there, and you can also actually go ice skating yourself during certain times. So again, just make sure everything I'm talking about, make sure you're checking times for your specific sailing, because it really does differ depending on time of year and things like that. I feel like we could talk for a really long time about what entertainment options are, but I'm just kind of talk through real quickly some other options and then put some video in here as well. So we have things like zip lining, a basketball court, there's pickleball, ping pong, a 10-story slide. If you've seen photos of this ship, you've probably seen this area where you see that purple slide going down. It's 10 stories. It's absolutely wild. There's a fun, I don't know what the fish is, but it's like a big scary fish. It reminds me of the one in Finding Nemo that's in the dark that has the light on top of their head that they find and run into. But anyway, so that is there. There's an indoor carousel that even artwork is leading up to, that shows you how they carve out of a block of wood, how they start with the block of wood and create the actual horses for the carousel, which is really, really, really neat to look at. There's mini golf. There's a rock climbing wall. There's a card room, there's a casino. So now y'all understand why I said at the beginning, this absolutely needs to be a 7-night cruise. It just makes sense on this ship to me. After seeing how massive it was, and in the 4 to 5 hours of them taking, we only stopped for 30 minutes, 40 minutes to have lunch, and we were going the whole time, and we still didn't see everything. So I hope that was helpful if you are looking to sail with Royal Caribbean on the Wonder of the Seas soon, or if you already have one booked. Hopefully this gave you some ideas or some things to think about, or just got you excited about actually seeing footage. I don't know if you're like me, but when I see actual footage of where I'm going and what I'm doing from somebody's perspective, I get really, really excited, because I'm like, oh, that looks fun, I want to do that, or that looks really cool, I want to have a drink at that bar. The lime and coconut bars, there was a couple of them on the ship, and they are so cute. They're themed so well, bright colors. When I took a shot, I looked at the menu and I was just like, oh man, I wish we weren't on this tour right now, because I would be over in that chair with my feet up and a pina colada in my hand with a book in my other hand, just totally zenning. With all that being said, if you're looking to book a trip that got, this got you excited and you're like, let's go, I want to go on the Wonder of the Seas, or if you want to go on a Disney cruise or a Virgin Voyages cruise, any cruise line, please fill out. There is a form link below. I'm a travel advisor, and I would love to help you get on a cruise and enjoy that either this summer, fall, or even into 2025. Thank y'all so much for watching. As always, we really appreciate the support, and we will see you on the next one.